Broadcast live.
What up? We out here.
Yes, sir.
Munya, you know what I mean? From
Yes.
Motif,
Yep,
you know? Munya, firstly, break down Motif, you know what it means, and just give us a little background on who you are and why you the guy that should start a business like this.
Okay, cool. So MOTI is an acronym for Masters of the Industry, MOTI. So I launched a skill sharing platform that was launched early March, and the purpose of MOTI as a platform is to do two things: is to share the much needed information that I think the industry doesn't have. And that's why, personally, I feel that's the reason why our industry is not progressing as it should be. I mean, given the infrastructure South Africa has compared to many other territories and other countries, it doesn't make sense. And it's just because I think there's a gap, basically. There's an information gap. So the purpose of MOTI is to provide the information, and also there's some resources I also made on the platform also for free. There's the digital metadata form, and we can get into this, but metadata is so important. And basically metadata is song information. And we are not completing song information, so therefore a lot of the different players when it comes to music, because music isn't just about the producer or the lyricist or the songwriter. It's also the sound engineers, there's mixers and masters and stuff. In actual fact, I often say Tidal, I think, is a platform which has the best metadata. They really put everyone on. And I mean, when you don't put the correct metadata in the song, that means the money doesn't flow how it should be. It's not going to the correct rights holders. On top of that, metadata can also help put people on jobs creation, because now if I see that you mixed and mastered an album, and then I'll know that you're the guy I want to hit up for my album. Because now there's that gap, we're not doing that at all. So then we're also losing jobs, there's potential jobs that are being lost. There's also a digital split sheet that talks to more the songwriters.
So that's all on the platform.
This is all on the platform. Okay. So yeah, www.motiafrica.com. Right. So once you register, you get access to these things. These are free services. Right. The split sheet now, that talks to more the songwriters and producers, because once again, our songwriters and producers, it's fact that producers and songwriters don't even understand that it's not just an upfront payment you get for producing a song. There's actually royalties that are due to you for being a songwriter and a producer. And unless you give those away, you always retain those royalties. And you should be earning money from all the songs you've written, produced, or however you've contributed to a song, because it could be a clap in a song or a noise you've made and you've got your percentage. So the split sheet, what the split sheet does, it's a formal document that just recognizes the percentage of ownership that the songwriters and the producers will own of the song. So then the royalties that are due to them, which are usually the mechanical royalties, the performance royalties, again, it flows to the rights holders, and then people can reinvest into their craft.
Explain mechanical and performance royalties before I ask that. Obviously, for those that don't know,
okay,
and where would they come from? So yes. Explain them with plugging them with something that they interact with every day.
Okay, fantastic. So let me start with the performance royalty. So the performance royalty, that's one of the rights and royalties that are due to songwriters and producers. They are the collection management organizations, and in South Africa, the ones that deal with songwriters and composers are SAMRO and Capasso. So SAMRO, and everyone knows SAMRO deals with the collection and distribution to songwriters and producers of the performance royalty. So people get performance confused because you think automatically people think gigs and performing, but a performance royalty is technically it's anywhere where your song is played in public. There's a royalty that is accrued and that's due to you for being the songwriter or the producer. So anywhere your song is played in, that could be if your song is playing in an elevator, if it's playing in the clubs, if it's playing in hotels, in banks, anywhere where it's just publicly played, there's a royalty that is due to you as a songwriter, as a producer. And SAMRO's responsible for collecting that royalty and distributing that royalty. Then on the other hand, there's Capasso. So Capasso also, again, they deal with songwriters and producers. However, they're responsible for the mechanical royalty, which is also known as the reproduction royalty. And this royalty now talks to more usage. So every time a song is well, back in the day when there was still downloads, it's crazy that downloads is a thing of the past. But when it comes to streaming, whenever a song is streamed, once again, that's counted as a usage. And every time a song is streamed, then again, there's a mechanical royalty that is accrued for you, the songwriter or the producer. And Capasso's job is to then make sure that any platform where music is being used, so we're talking the Apples, the Spotifys, the Deezers, even the mobile network operators for caller tunes even. I mean, it goes as far, anywhere there's uses like that, there's a royalty that Capasso will collect from these platforms, and they make sure that you, the rights holder, gets your mechanical royalty. So that's why the split sheet is so important, because what happens is that in the past, or not even in the past, currently as I'm speaking, what happens is that when people are misinformed, they don't understand, they then don't understand that there are these royalties due to them. And then what happens is maybe one person does know, and he then registers the song. He becomes a member of Samro and Capasso, and he registers the song saying he owns it 100% when that's incorrect. Now you find out months later and there's royalties that have gone. Now you find out there's royalties. Now you want to dispute that. There's no document that you have, because at the end of the day, it's all about what people can see. It's not about he said, she said. You need to show evidence and proof. So the split sheet is one way of doing this for you, to help you evidence that, yo, we agree that I own a 50%, 50%. This person should not be collecting all the royalties, and I should be earning mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe sum up like a mechanic in a way, it's like if there's no music on a streaming platform, you don't use it.
Yeah.
If there's music, you use it.
Correct.
That song that I play while I'm using it is actually like the usage. So
Correct.
So essentially, I'm using your song so you could stay on the app.
Correct.
So the app is saying, so look, besides us paying you the royalty, which kind of goes to the artist label or whatever,
Yes.
you also the writer. So you're a contributor of people actually using this.
Correct.
So you might have the dopest beat, he threw the dopest lyrics, but you're a contributor. So we also have to pay you. And the only way we know how to pay you is if you've got your metadata right and you've kind of answered that. And then obviously then the performance aspect of it is that anywhere your music is played, essentially like you get money collected for that.
Even radio as well, sorry, like
very
like radio
important,
as well, like
radio, television, clubs, venues, concerts, you know, all those things.
Yes.
And then I mean the thing, a person goes, yeah, but like there's so many songs being played in the clubs. How will they know? So how does a venue literally like pay? Because for that, maybe if you can give context. So I think the artist also will go, yeah, well, there's so many play. How are they remembering my song? You know,
that's a brilliant question, because, and now this goes to why the importance of understanding things are important, because the way it should happen is that in different countries internationally, they have things would happen either within the club, they will have a monitoring system, which is actually monitoring the music that's being played, so that it's easy to track. There's no arguments. You can hear what's happened, what's due to everyone. And as well as that, the clubs themselves, they're meant to be paying a license. Anywhere where music is, technically they should be
like a
paying.
blanket license.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
So let's say, what if I can't track? Do I pay a blanket license?
Well, you should, but
or is it both or either or?
You should be paying a license. So the blanket license would cover the usage. Yeah. So you'd be just paying. So the monitoring would just tell you what's been played, and then now the CMO will be able to apportion correctly whose money is meant to go where.
I see.
But you as the venue is paying a license.
So you've paid. So it works similar to streaming. We paid a license of like 1,000 Rand for the club. We played so many songs within the club. And within that license, the money will be split maybe over 6 months, whenever the royalty payment term is distributed. The money will be split in that sense.
From the report now. That's where you check into the report of what's played and stuff. Yeah. And then
you monitor.
That's how it should happen. But you see, locally, a lot of these things aren't happening. I feel we don't, and we're not even focused on the right questions. And at the CMOs, at Samros and Capassos, these guys host annual general meetings, AGMs every year, where members can sit down and they can find out what are the issues and the pain, the touch points where things aren't happening. Like That's a big issue right now. But there's no pressure. There's no support from the industry to put pressure on these venues to get a license.
Is there a product to monitor the music that's out commercially? I can get it on Take a Lot.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just saying, if you're a venue
they
owner,
definitely are. There definitely are products out there.
Where are they?
I know
though? And
a lot of them from my. Well, no, there are actually some local ones. I know with my travels, there's guys in Ghana that have these monitoring systems, and there's international guys that have got these tracking and monitoring systems as well. And I think they're not even like hectic devices. It's almost like a little radio you can put in the corner, which is just literally just picking up. And I don't know the technicalities of how it's connected, but it's not something hectic.
It's like whoever created it literally saw that, you know what, these guys are not using it. Maybe let me just create something called Shazam.
With this speaker.
It's like a Shazam.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
Yeah,
like a Shazam.
literally, 100%.
Now, my next question is, so we're sitting here, we're making this song, we've all contributed. We've got the vocalist, you know, obviously you got the vocalist where they'll collect needle time if they never wrote, right? So it's important to include them, right? Maybe that's also not, so if you never wrote, but you never wrote, but you're a performing artist, you collect the needle time. And that's why it's important if you're being called just a feature, you need to also, so if I'm called as a feature, when the metadata, when the split sheet is my name put?
So that's now, so who deals with our needle time? That is Sampra.
So with Sampra, do I now send Sampra the split sheet and I include you? Does Sampra have their own kind of needle time form? How does it work?
So I think absolutely you can still use the same split sheet that I'm providing on my platform to assist with that. So basically, Sampra now deals with the performing artists and they collect, again, it's a performance royalty, but this time they're focusing on the performing artists or the label actually. So it's either if you're an independent artist or the label, that's where now the performance royalty, they collect that and they distribute that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you also get a mechanical if you're a feature?
Featuring, if you contributed to the track, yeah.
Not as a writer, but
no,
just
if
as
you
a
didn't,
vocalist.
no, then you don't.
Okay.
So literally mechanicals and performance royalties on Samra and Capasso side, those are literally only for songwriters and producers. People who've contributed to the composition of the song.
Okay.
Yeah, not so not the performing.
Not the featured.
Not the performance, yeah. So someone
Let's
wrote
use
it
the
for
word
you.
featured.
Featured, so yeah.
Not the featured artist.
Not the featured artist.
The featured artist doesn't get anything.
But it's not necessarily just featured artists, because it could be some artists, as you know, don't even write at all. You may not necessarily have to, maybe you might be getting songwriters, producers to write for your album. So in that instance, even if you're just a single artist, you're the artist, you've got what and whoever in the studio to produce, you can't claim those royalties. Yeah. Those will still remain with the guys who've produced. Yes, sir.
So now we're in the studio, you know, there's the speed, we all adding sounds, you know. I could come through and I know what I want you to play, you're an instrument, when I know what I want you to play, do you, and I tell you how to play it and you play it. Yeah. Are you a feature? Are you considered as a sampler royalty, or you're considered as a contributor from a,
so I can tell you the notes. So I tell you the notes, this is what I want you to play. If I instruct and tell you what to do, then I'm the composer.
Okay, so I'm still the composer if I tell you what to do.
Yeah, I'm still the composer, but then all that matters is then, but as a session musician, you would be eligible to get the performance royalty from Sampra because you've performed the song or you've performed whichever instrument or whatever.
Yeah. I always want to use the word feature because you see, we doubling up performance, so it could be complicated. We're talking about performance when it's being played, that royalty, and let's say feature.
Okay,
let's use the word feature.
Okay,
yeah.
Got you.
You know, like I featured you here.
So, you know, I didn't before. Yeah.
You know, with that also, now I'm in the studio. How do we know, as writers and composers, how do we know, how do we agree on like a number, you know? Okay, you added your trumpet, you added your guitar, you added you maybe might have created the body of the beat, but how do we literally like now agree on a split, you know? How do we agree on a split amicably from a producer? I mean, if the writer wrote on their own, okay, that's easy to solve, right?
Yeah.
but obviously if he wrote with a couple of people, he'll have to
It's
deal with the
correct.
same issue. So how do we now solve this thing where I feel that no, but I should get more, you should, who intervenes to help you with that? Or you just take what you take and you leave?
So there's no set percentage as to how it works, but standard business practice, what people sometimes for ease, what they say is, okay, a song is made of 100% composition. So what they automatically do, they just say, let's split 50% for songwriters, 50% goes to producers. And so that's 50-50. Now, if, let's say there were 2 producers on the song and they co-wrote the track, then people just say, listen, that 50%, we'll split it in half. And if maybe there's only 1 songwriter, they'll say, you remain with your 50% for songwriting, and we split it like that. Alternatively, in that same scenario where there's 3 people, they could all just say, listen, let's split it up a third all the way across, and we're happy. At the end of the day, it's really a negotiation between the parties and people who are working.
So you must have, I mean, I've come at the base when I was in a coop, manje, you was in a ziggy, and now you want like half. No, bro, I came with the body of the beat. You just did,
Facts.
you know what I mean?
Facts.
And so those, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say, it's natural to have those disagreements.
Absolutely.
And they should be happening.
They should be happening. They should be happening, but at the end of the day, because if you can't resolve that, that means the royalties don't get released.
Yeah. And what that means generally is, which I've seen it before, when there's opportunities where brands want to use your music, your song for an advert, and they're about to pay you 800,000, and only because you haven't resolved your issues, then the brand goes, okay, then
move on to the next
we
one.
move on to the next song. And I've seen that a couple of times because people haven't agreed, and with some big songs and big artists also, you know. I've heard of stories like that where like there was the money right there, you know, in stacks.
Cash.
And in stacks, and all you just needed to do was just agree on your splits, but nobody knows who owns the song.
You see,
you know? Or the one guy who's the one who literally just knows about publishing went and said it's same, and he says 100%. And then, I mean, which is obviously what we've seen with a lot of the ads, a lot of the artists that are complaining are featured on songs, is because that guy who featured probably doesn't have the publishing. And the one guy said, no, I'm the one who produced everything, and he's registered. And, you know, like obviously your publishers don't look out for the other guy, you know what I mean? All right.
So that's why it's important, yo.
MOTI, M-O-T-I.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you go on the website, .co.za?
.com.
.com.
So it's MOTIAfrica.
MOTIAfrica.com.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to the website, get your split sheets. When you get in the studio there, make sure you're inside there and you're on the platform and you're speaking with everybody there saying, guys, let's contribute, you know? Or reach out to Munya. You know, he doesn't mind being in the studio with you, you know?
I love studio, bro.
Yeah. Reach out with
Munya,
DM him. Let him be around when you guys working on your things, and let him be the bad cop.
I was gonna, exactly.
Let him fuck up the vibe in the studio once you guys have made a dope song.
Exactly. So you guys still remain homies. You can even cuss me out when you leave, but at least the job is done.
Yeah.
I was also gonna add, there's another feature on the MOTI website, which is called Ask a MOTI, and basically it's a service on the platform again, which is for free. And what you can do is you basically can just put in any questions that you have. We've kept it to 120 characters because everyone knows Twitter. So 120 characters, and you can literally just put in any question that you have. And what my plan is, I'm gonna be doing every second Monday. I haven't started doing it yet because I wanna build more traction still on the platform. But every second Monday, the plan is to do MOTI Mondays. And we, as the team, what we'll be doing is we'll be going through all the different questions. There's a place to put your handles on Twitter and on your Instagram and Twitter we want to do YouTube lives and all that, but we need 1,000 subscribers just so slowly but surely. But for now, it's on Instagram Live, and we're looking at doing Twitter Spaces, And the plan is to tag people, answer direct questions that you might have. We need conversation to go now, you know? Yeah. So if you do have questions, you can also hit me up. I'll hit up the team there. And the idea is also, you know, I always say is that I don't want to be seen as the only MOTI, even though I may have been the person to start this thing. But the idea is, the purpose of the platform is to kind of put people onto the business of music now, to start seeing that the creative, which is important and it's there. We're evident that the creativity is there. However, the business side isn't there. So the idea is to really groom business-minded people, a layer of business-minded people in our industry who can sit in these AGMs and not the creative, because the creators aren't interested. We know the facts. Who can talk about, be the bad guy, talking about the split sheets, or the one following up, or making sure that the split sheets are now registered with the CMOs or with your publisher. We now need to have a designated person in the room, and those are the people I want to interact with those kind of questions. So it's really, for me, this platform is really just like it's a shout out just to say, yo, for those of you who aren't necessarily interested in being in front of the camera, as much as the glitz and the glam and all, but some people might be comfortable sitting in the position that we sit in. Well, kinda. But yeah, we're in the back. We work with the creators. We help protect the creators. We advise the best. That's really what the purpose of MOTI is as well. So, but the only way to do it is also to start talking. And that's why the Ask a MOTI function is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you go do that, man. Firstly, also, what's very important is to mention is there's power in you starting something that artists really need. This is a very important platform, which I'm just saying it's as important as Shazam, if not more, to be quite frank, you know? And I don't want us to sit here and underplay its importance and its value, you know? Because it is just as important as Shazam. And you must remember that I know there are other platforms, but you took your own money and it was your initiative to kind of go, look, let me give these things out for free.
Yeah.
You could literally always just sit in the back and just tweet about, oh, this, but you've literally invested on the platform. And obviously when we do these things immediately, we don't know where the money is going to come from, but we see where the problems are, because we genuinely feel a certain way when we see our folks not doing as they should be doing.
100%.
Yo, make sure you go on to motiafrica.com.
Yes, sir.
And do the damn thing. Like you can only take a horse to the water. If the horse doesn't want to go to the water, then he's gonna go drink the beer. Take a horse to the
trough.
Yeah, you can take a horse to the trough, but if he wants to drink beer, you must leave it there. You must leave it there, you know, you must leave it drunk, pop drunk, you know what I mean?
100%.
Thank you for coming through.
I really appreciate it.
Nice one.
No,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Broadcast live